You are listening to episode 100 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you were created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tino. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. How fun is this? Welcome back, everyone, to the 100th episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Whether you are brand new and this is your first time listening, whether you've been here from the beginning or maybe found me somewhere halfway through, thank you so much for being a listener. And I'm so happy to have you here to celebrate this milestone with me. So before we dive into connecting your faith, the topic of today's episode, and the fifth and final in a series of how to achieve balance in your life, I want to pause and celebrate this result and goal that I've created on having a podcast with 100 episodes. Because the skill of actually reaching goals and then reveling in them, right? Stopping, pausing, celebrating yourself for what you've done and those that have helped you get here. And then asking yourself, how did I do it? Is what I teach my clients to do. In coaching, we want you to realize that this life that you're after and feeling good requires you to stop and evaluate what it was that it took for you to get there, but then also to celebrate, right? We celebrate birthdays and holidays, and we stop and pause and we bring our focus to what is so wonderful about whatever it is that the achievement is celebrating. So I want to do that right now. I want you to know that I am giving myself a pat on the back. I am kind of looking back to the early days of having the idea of the podcast, deciding on the title and the focus, taking the course that teaches me how to do a podcast. And then I have consistently showed up and recorded, edited, uploaded, got the transcript and the photo and sent an email out to everyone to let you know, and put it out there in the world on Apple and Google podcasts and all of the others, consistently 100 weeks in a row. And I'm just super proud of myself. And I am just celebrating all of you who have given your time to come listen and benefit from these words. And this is what excites me to do 100 more. It is you, the listener on the other end, that I'm so passionate about these topics and this way of life that I did not know before and I did not have in the early years of my motherhood, that I want you to know that we can enjoy this time of our life, this stage of motherhood that we're in, that we are meant to be able to feel in control and be balancing all the things that are important to us. And that, of course, that we want to make our focus be on how we can have a more peaceful mind. If you tapped in every day to the concepts and the tools that I teach you here on the podcast and made it be your number one objective to have your mind be focused and feel in a peaceful place, then everything else falls into place. And so I just needed to start out with the celebration of myself and of you and just the podcast in general. And I'm excited for the next 100. And again, thank you for being here. And then second of all, I want to tell you that today's episode is the fifth in a series that I've done. It started with episode 95 that really kind of gave you the broad sense, the 5 ways to achieve balance. And what these are is that these are the pillars that of the curriculum that I teach in my small life coaching group program called Busy to Balanced, which helps you take the busy lives that we all have, trying to juggle our family and work and our spiritual life and just all the things that are important to us. And there's 5 pillars that we want to concentrate on that will help you achieve that balance and peace that you want in this life of yours right now, whatever stage you're in. And so to break up those 5 things and to remind, I encourage you to go back and listen to the last 5 episodes if you haven't already. And very briefly, I can tell you that number 96 looks at you, the relationship you have with you. Number 97 looks at you, your role as a mom. So there's you, and then there's you as a mom. Then 98 looks at time. 99 essentially is about goals. And then today is about faith. So you, mom, time, goals, and faith. If we are looking at balancing in these areas, then all of them give you what I believe equals the formula for this balanced life that we're after. Okay, so today, number 100, we are going to wrap up that series and talk about connecting your faith. And in my humble opinion, I have saved the most vital till the end, which is whatever your faith is. I am a member of the Catholic Church, and I draw on the sacraments and what my faith teaches to give me that foundation in my life. This is where I draw my core values from. A beautiful example of mine about how I connected faith into my life has to do exactly with this podcast. Before I started, I called upon my faith to bless the plans that I had. I ask the Lord, I ask Christ every day to use the gifts that I have to connect other moms out there who are suffering or are just not living the life they want to. And I believe that's why you're here today. And I need him every time I set on this new goal, and having this podcast and getting to 100 episodes is no different. So it is an example to share with you that I prayed about it before I started. I continue to pray along the way. I bring him in even before I start an episode. And this is how I connect. And I feel like that I stay, what you might want to say, like on top of things, and feel like, I'm finding satisfaction in my life is because I make sure that in my daily life, whatever I am doing, I connect it to my faith. So that's what I want to offer you as the general theme for you to take away is, how are you taking the other parts, the being a mom, the things that you want to be doing and growing for yourself, your time and your future? Are you placing those in a way in your daily life where you are also connecting your faith into each of them? Are you calling on your faith so that you can up-level all of those areas? If you are already, great. Then what I want to give you today will help you enhance that. And if you find yourself answering the question, I'm not really being as mindful and bringing in my faith to everything as much as I want to, then again, these tips that I'm going to offer you today, or at least just tell you some concepts that you can start thinking about in your life, then you can move towards connecting your faith more. And this will this will undoubtedly lead you to a more peaceful and balanced life. So the first part that I want to bring up to you is that if you've been listening for a long time, you know that a peaceful mind and being mindful and focusing on your mindset is actually what I do in my coaching business. And when I work with clients and when I help them, we focus on your internal life, on your mind. And when we connect faith to this, I want to bring in that in your mind is where the Spirit speaks to you. When we pray, we are using our mind. We are thinking thoughts that have us going towards heavenly things. And so our beliefs that we have in whatever faith practice you have, our beliefs are our chosen thoughts about truths. And then we've thought them so much that they become true to us, or we just decide when we've heard them from someone else that this is something that we are believing for ourselves as truth. So in order to enhance your faith and call on it on a daily basis and connect more to it with everything that's going on in your life, we want to have that knowledge that your thoughts and what's going on in your mind is where it all begins and where you cultivate it. And so can you bring your thoughts more towards your faith in the daily basis? It takes practice because our mind does focus on, kind of the task at hand, but you can learn. You can learn how to be present in a faithful way as well as functioning in your daily life. It's kind of like there's more than one track at a time. So you'll be able to remain mindful of you and what's going on in your life, but you can also dedicate one of those tracks to heaven, to the Lord, to the source, whatever your faith practice is. I admit that staying conscious of Him, of Jesus, when I'm busy is very challenging for me. But thankfully, He created our mind that can function in a way where we can bounce back and forth. And we can be in the midst of something that is troubling for us or challenging, or just we're in that zone, that flow and focus of our daily life. But it is possible for you to fit in those thoughts that are your beliefs and your thoughts that make you bring yourself in connection to your faith. And that is what I want you to just give a try. Just try it out. Say, today, as much as I can, I'm going to go about doing my life that I want to, but challenge yourself. How much can I bring my thoughts to my faith? And ask God to help you. And just, pause to say, I love you, Jesus. I have a picture in my office that says, Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. And I love that reminder that I see it. And I like that when I can just pause in the middle of, just the flow and hustle of life and just direct my mind. I connect myself to my faith. And this, my friends, is so important for you to be able to achieve that balanced life that we're after. Okay, the second idea I want to share with you today to connect your faith with your life is to call upon this notion. Why do we need to hurry? What is the rush? These are the questions I always want to know when I hear the kind of little panic, frustration maybe that's going on in the lives of my clients, because I remind them that the way to call upon your faith is to know that God is never in a hurry. And I always just sort of say, what is God's rhythm? Think about that. And think about what we know about Christ and His time here on earth. Does it come to mind that He was ever rushing around, that He had to hurry up and get to one place to another. No. And how many times did he always put first his time to walk off and go by himself in prayer? But when you think about him and you think about his nature, do we think about that he's calm and present and unhurried? Well, this is how I connect my daily life to my faith, so that when I find myself feeling hurried, in a rush, and just a little bit behind, and so then I kind of turn up the speed to either get things done or to get where I want to go, I always call on my faith in this way. I say, okay, I want to be in God's rhythm. And so what do I need to do? And it just like immediately calms me down, and saying that there is no rush because his rhythm is the best rhythm. And so that is something that I just want to offer you today and invite you to start incorporating into your daily life, right? So we've got that our thoughts are a way to connect ourselves by calling on the beliefs that we have and thinking about it and putting our mind towards heaven and heavenly things. And then the second one is to check in and notice your rhythm. And is it aligned with God's? And if you are able to slow yourself down, then you will enhance your life greatly by calling on this aspect of faith. Okay, number 3, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite feelings and emotions that I know is imperative for us to reach the goals that we have for living our best life, and that is to call on courage. So the way that whenever I need to call on courage for my life, I connect this with my faith by going to how many times the Lord has told us, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I believe I read that it is the most repeated phrase in the Bible. Do not be afraid. And I picture those words coming into my heart, and it does automatically give me courage. So when you find yourself in your life afraid and fearful, right? We worry about our children, and we have anxiety about many things, about money, about our relationships, about whether we're doing a good enough job. And I just say this is a perfect time to call on your faith. Connect your faith in this way. Recall that he tells us, do not be afraid. And call upon courage in your life. So in order to get the peace that you want, the balance that you want, I can't stress this next point I want you to incorporate in your life on a daily basis. And that is this notion that you are never alone. Because our faith tells us that Christ is present with us at all times, right? Like he's right here with us right now. I know this because they've said wherever 2 or more have gathered. And so this exchange that even you, the listener, and me, the podcast host, is right now, he is present. And we can always call upon him. So even when you're feeling lonely, it's because you're not having the mind focus of where I want you to go from now on, where you're like, no, he's here with me, so I'm never alone. And the last point that I want to offer you today is to recall what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is eternity, right? We all know, even though our brains will fight it, that we don't know when we are going to die and move from this world. It is unknown to us, but our brain fights, but we are all going to meet that day at some point. But knowing and going through your daily life that is our ultimate goal, to spend eternity and to go to heaven, then see how that can give you a peace every day. If you just call on that aspect and saying, it's okay, this circumstance that I'm meeting with right now, the problem that I'm having to solve, the challenge that I'm having to endure, it's all okay. Because that is the experience that we have on earth. But ultimately, if I know that I'm on track to go to heaven, then see how that can just bring that instant injection of peace and calm into your life today. So I want to just kind of wrap up these points that I made today on how you want to connect your faith. And when you do, when you use them, this is how you have a more peaceful and balanced and joyful life. Again, it's the fifth pillar in the curriculum that I help walk you through in either my one-on-one program or my group program. And after coaching so many moms, this is what I have found is the foundation. If you are connecting your faith in your daily life by bringing your thoughts to those of your beliefs and ones that make you feel connected to your faith, and then you follow a rhythm in your life that is very similar to how Christ did when he was here on earth, and you draw on courage and take that courage from the notion that we've been given that you do not need to be afraid, and then knowing you are never alone and focusing that there is an ultimate goal of eternity, then this will immediately bring you to a place of being steady, in control, peaceful, assured, certain. And this, my friends, is thoughts that create the feeling of balance. This is how we do it. We connect our faith with everything, and we connect it as much as we can on a daily basis. And I hope these kind of tips and focus that I've given you today will help you to start doing that from today and build on this practice continually. And if you want to automatically become the person whose mind is wired to do this regularly, this is the work we do inside my coaching program. And I want to invite you to explore that may be an amazing option for you at your life, in your life right now. And if so, you just start with getting a free sample of what it's like, what coaching can do for you. And I do this, and I offer, in the way that I do this is I offer a free peace strategy call. Let's strategize on what area in your life you want to bring more peace, balance, and joy to, and we will make that happen in just one phone call. I cannot express how much I appreciate you being here, and I hope that you will also be a evangelist of this work for me and help share this with other moms out there. There are so many who are struggling and don't know this way to peace. And I just would like to invite you to help share it with someone today. And the last thing that I want to just say to all of you who have made it to the end of the podcast and are still listening now, that of course I record these in advance, but I do know when it will be going out into the world. And for my fellow members of the Catholic faith, I want you to know that if you happen to be listening to this on the day it is released, which is, I think, July 5th of 2022, that today I am in Fatima, Portugal. And I want you to know that I am visiting one of the holy places that our Blessed Mother came and appeared to the three children. And I just thought that was so cool that when I'm recording this 100th episode and talking about how to connect our faith, that when this is released out into the world, it will be the day that I am visiting Fatima. And so, I'm not there yet, but when you're listening to this, I will be there. And just know that I am taking my intentions of all of my clients and all of my listeners to this podcast and praying for you and connecting my faith today with you out there. So I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I hope you join me for the next 100 episodes of the Peaceful Mind podcast. Okay, I'll talk to you again next week. I love you all, and peace be with you always. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind podcast. Are you ready to take everything I teach you here and put it to work for your own life? To really learn how to have peace of mind no matter what is happening around you? If so, I'd love to have you as a client. As your coach, this is where you'll get personal and focused time on your own mind using life coaching tools, concepts, and proven life-transforming wisdom, all through a faith-filled lens. To learn more about how we can work together, come on over to danielleteenel.com. There, you'll see how to sign up for a free coaching consult and learn how to get started. Until next time, peace be with you always.